Ready? Staff ready? We'll go ahead and call to order the City Council meeting of August 26th, 2025. Let's start with an invocation and the pledge led by Jeff Harris, Council Member Place 2.
If you would please bow your head in prayer with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with grateful hearts for the blessings you've poured over our community here in Kerrville. Thank you for the beauty of this city, the strength of its people, and the opportunity to gather in service of the public good. We ask for your wisdom and guidance over this council. Grant each leader here discernment, integrity, and the spirit of cooperation as we all make decisions that impact the lives of so many. Help us all to lead with humility, compassion, and courage. Lord, we lift up our first responders, our police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and those who stand ready to serve and protect at a moment's notice. Bless them with the protection, strength, and peace as they face challenges that often go unseen. Heavenly Father, we also pray for our men and women in uniform, those serving in our military both far and near. We thank you for their sacrifice and dedication to our nation. Keep them safe, guide their steps, and bring comfort to their families. May our community be united in purpose and strengthened by mutual respect. And may your hand of blessing rest upon Kerrville today and always. In your holy and heavenly name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please join me in this pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Cunius, do you have any announcements?
Yes, sir. We have 3 announcements tonight. And if you like to shoot hoops, we invite everybody to come out to Carver Park on Saturday, September 13th. We're going to start at 10 o'clock. It's the basketball knockout competition. I think this is the first time that the Parks and Recreation Department has done that, so we're hoping for a good turnout. $15 per player. I think the deadline, if you want to sign up in advance, is September 11th. But September 13th, come on out and take a few shots at the rim. And in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, we invite everybody to come by Scott Schreiner Golf Course. We're going to be cutting the ribbon cutting for the opening of the course. And I don't know if you've been by there, but it is absolutely beautiful. We can't wait to get started. And in fact, we'll be starting Friday with the 79th annual Heart of the Hills tournament. I'm going to have quite a few people from both around the country and around the state. So hopefully when you see them this weekend, tell them hi, and we're thankful that they're coming to town and bringing some dollars with them. And Councilman Singleton has been talking about this for quite some time now, but we're getting close enough where we're going to put it up. October 25th, the Water Street Festival. Actually, I probably ought to turn it over to you. I was going to say, I think you're still open and you can take vendors.
We can. We still have room for some vendors, and it's going to be a great day. Good day to celebrate what we've come through.
All right. Well, we invite everybody to, we'll be going over this some more. There's going to be a lot of live events out there, but we invite everybody to put that on your calendar and keep that day open Saturday, October 25th. So
thank you, Stuart.
I'll turn it over to y'all now.
Any other announcements? Anything to add?
No, it's just have flyers if you want to take something home with you to remind you about it. It's October 25th, the Saturday. We're going to have Water Street and Earl Garrett closed, portions of it, so that you can freely, safely walk about, get something to drink and eat. And there'll be music. We're going to have a kids parade at 11 that's looking to be the start of the show. A lot of activities planned for families and kids. So it should be a great day. And a lot of vendors there selling their products and things. Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah. I got emailed today by the colonel over at Tybee High School, who is in charge of the JROTC program. And they're going to do another Veterans Day program this year on November the 11th. And he reached out, and I figured what better time to ask if we have anybody here that likes to sing or knows a good singer. Last year they had a gentleman that sang patriotic songs throughout the program. So if anybody here knows somebody that's a singer or performer or would like to sing at a Veterans Day event hosted by Tybee, which is pretty amazing to see young people celebrate our veterans. Please let one of us know, and we'll pass that on to the colonel. So, thank you.
Well, it's of community interest to know that the special session of the legislature is going on right now. Is one of the things that they're covering is limiting property taxes for states and, for cities and counties. We have a 3.5% cap now on how much we can raise, and our property taxes. And we can't fund all of our budget now with the 3.5%. There's been more inflation than that, and so we are not funding our replacement of assets or other future things. We really, if we need a new fire, we're not going to have money to borrow money. I mentioned at the last council meeting that we're on a sinking ship as far as our money goes, and they're talking about reducing the cap from 3.5 to 2 or 1, and I don't know how cities and counties are going to survive. So I think it's be the interest of all citizens to get a hold of their legislators and say, if you want services in your cities and counties, we've got to have more flexibility about getting through inflationary periods, and because the money is just not there. So get a hold of your legislators. So we're already on a sinking ship, and they cut it down to 2 or 1%. We're going to be in real trouble. We are going to put together a group to try to help come up with some ideas about how, where else can we get some money. And so we've began to put together some names, and so we'll see how that all gets develops. But we need to have some community input, because we got a mountain we're not going to be able to climb without some big changes. So we just want everybody to know, legislators need to know, it's not going, because the cities don't work that way. They get by without property taxes. They'd like to cut them out completely. So that's one of the goals they have.
Thank you. Brenda?
I'm going to yield my time to Kerrville Pets Alive.
Oh, really?
She'll have an announcement.
Please. She handed the. Middle's fine.
You're welcome.
Mayor and Council, good evening. I'm Karen Guerrero with Kerrville Pets Alive. This is Debbie Zabica with the Red Cross. You're familiar with her. We're here tonight to announce kind of a giving back event that we're going to have on September the 13th at the Red Cross. We're going to partner with in this endeavor. And it will be a pet resource and wellness event for all Kerr County residents. Everyone's are struggling right now, and if we can help them with their pets, save a little money, we're going to do that. Everything will be absolutely free that day, including registration for free spay and neuter surgeries, free vaccines. We'll have free microchips. We'll have a veterinarian on site for exams, things like that, nail clips. We'll even have a pet tag machine, fun for the whole family and kids, crafts and things like that. So, and people supplies as well. So we just want to invite the community. We appreciate all the donations we have received and want to give back as well. So when everyone do come to that,
Where is
September,
it going to be?
it'll be at the Red Cross building,
Oh, okay.
333 Earl Garrett, from 8 until noon on September the 13th, which is Saturday.
Karen, will y'all be supplying preventatives like?
Flea prevention with the help of the veterinarian, yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
September 11th?
Yes, sir, if you want.
Go ahead.
You go ahead, you're a guest speaker.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna. So September the 11th at Trailhead Beer Garden at Shriner University is going to be the second walk of remembrance for 9/11. General Mike Oates is putting this together. We have some phenomenal guest speakers this year that are going to be there. One of which is the gentleman sitting to my left, as well as our county judge and the Parachinis, who are the founders of Gunny's Warriors, who really stepped up above their normal call during event since July the 4th. And Mayor, we look forward to having you as a speaker.
Right, our next item is Visitors and Citizens Forum. How many do we have signed up, Shelley?
14.
Some of you have not been to city council before. I'm glad you're here. We want to hear everybody. We do. That's why we're here. Some ground rules. There is a time limit. Please don't go over your time limit. There's lots of you. If you can be brief, you get more points. We want to hear you, but we want it to be courteous, professional, and kind. If someone starts calling people names, it will not be an effective tactic. All right? We respect you. Please respect those you speak about. Other than that, I'm glad you're here. That's why we're here, to listen.
Time limit?
There's a time limit. What's the time? Is it
4 minutes.
4 minutes? So 4 times 14,
56.
that's an hour. So if you don't take your full 4 minutes, that's good. That'd be great. All right. Who's first?
Gabriel Perales.
Mr. Perales. We're timing you, sir.
I'm long-winded, unfortunately, Mr. Mayor. Mayor, Council, and everybody present. Hello, my name is Gabriel Perales. I'm a Public Information Officer with the United States Small Business Administration's Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. And I'm here to share today that for those that were impacted by the flooding in July, there are resources still available through SBA. SBA at a time of disaster not only helps businesses, but we help homeowners, renters, and nonprofits as well. So if you're a homeowner that has suffered physical damage, you may qualify for up to $500,000 of a disaster loan with a low interest rate of 2.81% over the course of a 30-year term with no payments and no interest for the first year. For personal losses, so renters and homeowners who suffered personal loss, whether it was clothes, furniture, and even including vehicles, you can qualify for up to $100,000, again at 2.81% up to a 30-year term and no payments, no interest for a year as well. For business owners that also suffered physical damage, you can qualify for up to $2 million with an interest rate as low as 4% over the course of 30 years, and again, no payments and no interest for the first year as well. And finally, if you're a business who has suffered economic injury, you can also qualify for economic injury disaster loan, and that's also up to $2 million, as low as 4%, up to 30 years, no payment, no interest for the year. Our deadline is rapidly approaching and less than 10 days away for physical damage, and it is September 4th. You can apply online at sba.gov/disaster, or you can also apply at one of the disaster recovery centers. We have one in Hunt, one on Memorial Boulevard, 3785 Memorial Boulevard, which is the Hill Country Youth Event Center. And we also have a business recovery center here on North Street, 823 North Street, should you care to go there. We just wanted to share that we continue to try to be as visible as possible. If it wasn't you that was impacted, but you know somebody that was, please let them know they can reach out to us and let them know of the resources that we do have available still. So again, thank you very much, everybody, and I'm here to help with any further questions or concerns.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Texas McComb.
You mind if I use the podium?
I do not mind.
Kerrville, how are you? I'm Texas McComb. The morning of July 4th, Captain John Miller elected me Guadalupe Riverbed expert. 4.5 hours later, there was the first search and recovery map of the Guadalupe from Camp Mystic to Canyon Lake. That was an obligation because I grew up on Arcadia Loop, and I thought it was a great time every time the water would rise because I could return things to every camp and every rancher, and they would give me money. That paid for my first vehicles, my first vacations. That was a great experience. So it was kind of a seek and find that I really looked forward to. With that being said, I knew one day I'd go to college, I would travel outside of Kerrville. So in 1997, as a 15-year-old boy, I created 3 flood warning devices. One was for authorities that plugged into a telephone line. I assumed it would be like the bat phone in the corner. No one would really know when it would ring, but when it would ring, they would know this is not a test. This is the real deal. The second one was for camps. When it alerted, the camp counselors would know, get the toys away from the water, pay attention to the water. This is real. The third one was for my favorite people of Kerr County, the senior citizens along the Guadalupe. When it sounded, they would know it's time to take that short drive. I'm here for one reason and one reason only, Council and Mayor. It's because the money you set aside for the device that you're planning on buying will not work. It won't work for 3 reasons. 1, the debris, when it happens, it will fill. Second, the first part of a wave, if you will, when a flood happens, is large sticks, large stones. That will demolish what you're planning on buying. And third, when a large amount of water travels over limestone, it creates an enormous amount of static electricity. That static electricity will short out the device you're planning on buying. I'm not here to brag, facts are facts. The device I created is the only device that'll work. 12 city council meetings, 20 fire stations, 4 times at the state capitol between 1997 and 1998. Everyone thought it would work. Everyone agreed with my science. No one called. That's all it is, plain and simple. That's it. Simple. That's what will work. Think of it as the fire alarm. We don't need a text to our phone. We don't need an email to the news. We need it to work. And that's what I created. With that, I have to add, I truly am proud of every first responder from the 4th of July up until last week when I was on the riverbed. Y'all did an incredible job. And it truly, truly makes me happy that the community in a whole came together for one event we could not control, but we equally felt the pain and still feel the pain. The other reason I'm here, City Council and Mayor, is I'm asking permission to float the Guadalupe, as I only know how to do. I want to go from Camp Mystic all the way to Canyon Lake, because July 21st was the last time Captain John Miller and I met. July 22nd was the last time the loved one was recovered. Again, I'm not here to brag, but I grew up on the river. It was my favorite place. The final search, I believe I'm the only one that'll know what I'm looking at, so I'll understand what to look for.
Well, that's beyond our authority to grant. We only are within the city limits of the city of Kerrville. Thank you for your words. I appreciate it. Who's next?
Megan Booth.
Booth. And you can use that, or you can go there, whichever's most comfortable. We do need you at a microphone. We have to record this. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Herring and council members. My name is Megan Booth, and I've lived in the city of Kerrville for 29 years. My husband, Micah Booth, was born and raised here and has proudly served the city of Kerrville as a firefighter for 19 years. Like many of his colleagues, he has had to take a second job because a firefighter's salary in Kerrville is not enough to keep up with the rising cost of living. And now, city employees are being forced into an impossible choice. Move to an HMO plan that restricts access to providers and specialists, or stay on the PPO plan and absorb a drastic reduction in the city's contribution to premiums. What was already a struggle to make ends meet has now become what amounts to a devastating pay cut. For firefighters, access to mental health care is not optional. They carry trauma from calls the rest of us could hardly imagine.
Take your time. You're doing well.
And mental health support is what allows them to keep showing up safely and with strength. By limiting network options and making it harder to see qualified providers, the city is putting that care further out of reach. My husband and I are also raising 4 children here. Our oldest daughter, Briley, has autism and requires specialized therapies. Life with a special needs child is already filled with challenges most families never face, and every day is a fight to make sure she has the same opportunities as any other child. Now imagine adding to that the possibility of losing the very providers who know her and have helped her make years of progress. Under an HMO plan, that is our reality. Taking away consistent access to care is not just short-sighted, it risks undoing everything Briley has worked so hard to achieve. In our home, these changes are not numbers on a spreadsheet. They mean deciding between bills and therapy. They mean wondering if my daughter's progress will vanish. Nearly every city employee in Kerrville is facing the same impossible choices. Many already work multiple jobs just to survive, and during the July 4th flood, they showed up without hesitation, working around the clock, and now they face higher health care costs on top of stagnant wages. At the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust meeting, Council was told nothing will change with the PPO, but you were not shown the real paycheck impacts. Families paying hundreds more every month. That lack of transparency is unacceptable. And even more troubling, it was stated that the goal is for the city's contribution to premiums to continue decreasing in future years. That means this problem will not stop here. Every single year, employees will be forced to shoulder more of the cost. If we want Kerrville to retain first responders and city staff, this has to change. We cannot expect people to serve this city with pride when they cannot afford to live here, when their children lose access to care, and when they're treated as disposable in the budgeting process. Because of this, I stand here tonight not just for my family, but on behalf of many others. We have gathered a petition with over 1,000 signatures calling for action. That petition, which I've provided to you, outlines clear asks. My final question to you is this: do you believe Kerrville needs its first responders and city employees? If that answer is yes, start treating them like you do.
Mary Elizabeth Bartlett.
Ms. Bartlett.
My name is Mary Elizabeth Bartlett. I'm a Kerrville resident. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a firefighter wife, and I'm a mom. It is our family's privilege to serve this community. Thank you for hearing our comments. It is my goal for the council to appreciate that not only are neither of the options offered for healthcare coverage practically or financially feasible, they are also detrimental and harmful to city employees. I'm here representing my family, my husband, who is currently on shift as a firefighter and EMS supervisor. In his honor, I wore his favorite shirt, one so many of his peers here will recognize, as he wears it routinely in order to facilitate conversation on the mental health crisis among first responders. It says, because y'all are out there, it says, "Don't let the hard days win." This is a hard day. This one's really hard. As an advocate for mental health support, my husband served not only as an informal resource for first responders processing the terrors of the 4th of July flood, but also connected many with professional resources when the city initially failed to do so. Since then, I know several Kerrville first responders who have started seeing a therapist on a regular basis. This is a miracle, considering the stigma that has been attached to first responders, especially men, receiving mental health care. It can take months, sometimes even years, to find someone with whom you can develop the level of vulnerability and trust required for therapeutic processing to begin. Once you find that person, you do not let go. We should be making this easier and not harder. Now our first responders are stuck with an impossible choice: pay astronomical higher premiums to maintain their therapist without interruption with the modified PPO plan, pay astronomical out-of-pocket costs if their therapists are now out of network on the HMO plan, or just pray that their therapist is in network and wait for a time-consuming referral, a dangerous gamble for those reeling from trauma. These men and women have served our community beyond what is written in their contract. They who brought engines and police cars to school to engage our children, played football to raise money for various community efforts, went out in their own vehicles on their own time to deliver water to people iced in during Winter Storm Uri, pulled bodies of men, women, and children from a river. Upon reviewing the footage of the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust meeting, I believe the council was misinformed and believed there would be no or minimal changes. In fact, Assistant City Manager Kim Meismer states premiums will increase, quote, a little bit. But what a little bit means is never defined, nor is clarification later obtained by the council. My family's premiums will increase 100%. And that is with the corrected data. What is further troubling is that Ms. Meismer references the city's plan to further decrease contributions over the coming years. If we already know that is your intention, why should we stay? I ask you to review the benefit changes after considering the real adverse personal impact on city employees, not just the dollars saved by the city, at the next city council meeting. I ask you to be transparent with your intentions with our benefits. I understand the city has budgetary issues. We do too. Most of us are young families who are making long-term financial plans and commitments. We need timely data to know if we should continue to invest our careers in Kerrville or cut our losses. I'm asking you to rectify the dangerous oversights of the healthcare plan, to do the right thing to retain the trust of your community. Thank you.
Dwayne Kutzer.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Dwayne Kutzer. I have been a City of Kerrville Fire Department employee for just over 24 years and a Kerr County resident my entire life for 47. On January 2023, after being a first responder for almost 22 years, I went out on medical leave for almost 8 months. Being diagnosed with PTSD, major depressive disorder, and generalized anxiety disorder, I saw a counselor once or twice a week for months on end, psychologist visits, taking and trying many different medications, and including in-hospital treatments. After 6.5 months, I wasn't even close to be able to come back to work. I attempted to get into Warrior's Heart when I was denied due to not having substance abuse, which was devastating to the point where I was already having suicidal thoughts consistently. The same day, I discovered the IAFF Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health and Recovery in Maryland, which serves firefighters and paramedics. I attended that program for a month and a half. My story and others there all said that the COE saved our lives. Others were discharged early and didn't get the entire program due to their insurance cutting them off or having to self-pay the rest of the treatment. COE website states HMO plans may have geographical limitations for services and subsequently no coverage for services. PPO plans provide the greatest ability to access the COE with less likelihood of insurance obstacles. Was it an HMO or similar health care plan they had? I will never know why they had to leave and not finish. I was excited to return to work after this treatment, which I have to this day. For someone like me in my field, that would need the type of treatment, and getting denied or cut short would be life or death. On July 2023, my wife, B. Kutzer, went for a mammogram at Peterson Regional Radiology Department due to her mother having an active breast cancer for many years and with the direction from her local PCP. Peterson Radiology advised that they had found something on her right breast, but not to worry and return in 6 months. Due to the concerns of probability her being at high risk due to family history and knowledge working in the medical field as an LVN, 6 months was just too long to wait and see. Several months later, she referred herself to and was seen by MD Anderson Oncology in Houston, where they conducted scans, blood tests, and other associated testing within a week or two of contacting them. The test came back with devastating news that they found multiple tumors in the other breast. After biopsies of the tumors, it was confirmed in November she indeed had breast cancer. They caught her diagnosis early. After many months and multiple surgeries and treatment, she was ruled cancer-free in April 2024, where today she continues her treatment, medical labs, and scans on this cancer-free journey. We understand we can continue with PPO. However, my cost will double monthly. In closing, we also understand the financial motivations behind moving to an HMO. This change would interrupt the ongoing care we rely on. The proposed network excludes the specialist current treatment for my wife, chronic condition, and for my mental health if I ever had to return to the COE again. Some, if forced to HMO due to financial reasons, will not or may not get treatment like I have received. Thank you for your time.
Haley Hooser.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and respected community members. My name's Haley Huser, and I've lived in Kerrville for 31 years. I stand before you today as a concerned mother of 3, member of this community, registered nurse, and most importantly, the wife of a Kerrville first responder. And as all of you are sure aware, I'm here to discuss the changes to the insurance. First, I want to share something that's deeply personal with you today. When our 5-year-old son Raiden was born, we discovered that he had significant ear problems that led to the diagnosis of deafness in one ear. This hearing impairment caused him to be severely delayed in his speech development. With the help of therapy and a surgical procedure to correct the problem, we've seen tremendous improvement, but unfortunately, he still lags behind his peers. Sadly, this isn't the story for just one child. Our 2-year-old son Hagen is facing the same challenges. These challenges, while difficult, have been manageable thanks to our current insurance and has allowed us to expedite treatment with specialists for my children and myself. With the changes presented to us, the situation becomes more intense. Switching to the more affordable HMO plan would result in my children losing their pediatrician, the critical provider that's needed for all other services under an HMO. Hagen will also lose his therapy services as his providers are no longer covered. On the other hand, if we were to choose the PPO plan, other tough decisions would be made. Do we stop services for Raiden and use his copay amount of $480 a month to apply to the PPO plan? Does my husband pick up more overtime shifts, knowing full well that he's going to miss more of our kids' sports events, school events, and other milestones? Or do we stop services for Hagen and just hope for the best for him? For me personally, as I look in the crowd today, I see many of the same faces I saw when I was waking up in the back of an ambulance. But one face stands out in particular, my husband. He was one of the paramedics who responded to a 911 call for me during a seizure. In the middle of a medical crisis, he was there coming to the scene to help his wife, knowing full well the gravity of the situation. As a first responder, he's used to being the one offering care and stability to the community, but this time he was the one whose family needed help. Now I ask all of you to consider this. What would you do in his shoes? What would you do if you saw your spouse or child in a medical crisis and because of insurance cuts or affordability issues, you were left wondering how you would ever financially recover from it? Last year, that wasn't a question we had to ask ourselves, and thanks to our current insurance, life-saving care has been accessible, affordable, and attainable for us. But with the changes being prevented, that safety net can and will vanish. And as a family, we're left with impossible choices. This is not a situation any of us should have to face. We should never ask ourselves if we can afford to save a life. For families like ours, these aren't just financial decisions, they're heart-wrenching dilemmas. Despite the long hours, emotional toll, and sacrifice, my husband works a second job as a registered nurse, just to help keep us afloat. An increase or change is going to be detrimental to our family. And before I finish, I'd like to ask if anyone affected by these changes, either by losing access to a provider or financially, please stand. I ask City Council to look at these individuals, the ones that keep our city together, and also at their families, because tonight they aren't just a face in the crowd, they're the backbone of our city. We deserve better. I ask that you review the information presented during the July 22nd Employee Benefit Trust and truly dig deep and see if the information was accurate and the impact it has on all employees, to review the cost of living and compensation for all city employees. I ask that this be reviewed at the next agenda. This is my city and my voice, and Kerrville deserves better.
Micah Booth.
I'm here in the capacity of an officer of the local 3230 Kerrville Professional Firefighter Association. I'm representing myself and some of our membership who voiced to me their desire to speak, but feared retaliation. My name's Micah Booth. I'm 40 years old, and I was born and raised in Kerrville, and I graduated from Tybee High School in 2003. My wife Megan and I were raised in this beautiful, safe community. Our kids go to the same schools and play at the same parks that we did, making it an easy decision to raise a family here as well. Together we have 4 kids. Sorry, I lost my spot. Together we have 4 kids. As a little boy, I didn't just want to be a firefighter. I wanted to be a Kerrville firefighter. My family is quintessentially Kerrville. As a city employee, I never expected to get rich, but I did expect a living wage and adequate medical coverage. Those 2 things provide stability for people to settle in a community, pursue that career, and raise a family. In my 19 years of employment, I've watched the actual cost of living outpace the cost of living adjustment awarded to me, essentially providing less of a living the longer I stayed here. But that's fine. We've gotten financially creative, worked second and third jobs, made sacrifices, and just gone without, all to maintain our vital medical coverage and continuity of care. My story can be found in every fire station across all 3 shifts. No one is staying for the excellent pay, but they were staying for the benefits. With low pay and inadequate health coverage, it has become irresponsible as a breadwinner to remain a City of Kerrville employee. We've lost more than a handful of police officers and firefighters over the last few years to higher wages and better benefits. This is the straw that broke the camel's back for many. People will leave out of necessity and nothing else. When it comes to pay, so much care is taken to provide complete and accurate data from comparable fire departments that a third party is hired to do a salary study and develop the report. They compare us to departments with similar amount of stations, personnel, and call volume to make sure oranges are being compared to oranges. On July 22nd, Council was presented these 2 healthcare options for approval. The data presented did not provide the information needed to make this decision. The City of Kerrville employs approximately 350 people. We were compared to municipalities with much smaller employment pools who can't achieve better rates by default due to their low number of contributors. Those 2 oranges are not the same. During that same presentation, it was mentioned as a goal to reduce the city's contribution towards healthcare over the next few years. Yesterday, I asked if that was still true or have things changed. City staff ultimately answered with maybe. Please provide clarity while we make such an important decision. Is it the goal for the City of Kerrville to continue reducing their contribution towards health care coverage over the next few years? I'm very disappointed that the impact to the employees' paychecks wasn't presented up front that night, nor did council ask before making the decision, leaving us feeling like an unimportant afterthought. After 19 years of being strung along with hopeful salary studies just to catch up to mediocrity and immediately start falling behind again, I feel deceived, lied to, and just plain stupid. Do not mistake my passion for
Samantha,
and I love this department, I love these people, and I love Kerrville. Please take action.
Samantha Winky, and I apologize if I'm not, okay.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Winky. I'm a Kerrville citizen. I am a veteran, and most importantly tonight, I am the proud mother of a Kerrville firefighter. My son has wanted to be a firefighter since he was 4 years old. He was an Army brat who grew up all over the country, but he spent his junior and senior year in Kerrville and graduated from Tybee High School. He never once wavered from his dream, and today he is living it. He is so proud to serve Kerrville, and his family is so proud of him. We are grateful that Kerrville Fire Department gave him the chance to give back to the community that welcomed my family and allowed us to put down roots. But the reality is Being a firefighter is not just a job. On the 4th of July, when the floods came, my son rushed out into the night to save people while his own home was filling with water. He went through in a few hours what some firefighters carry with them from a whole career. And when the sun came up, he had no home to go back to. He is still displaced, trying to rebuild his life, even as he continues to show up every day for the city of Kerrville. And here's the part that breaks my heart as a mother. My son cannot even afford to buy a home in the county he serves. He is young, dedicated, and selfless, and yet the city he risks his life for is cutting his insurance benefits and refusing to give him hazardous duty pay. After everything he has been through, this feels like another blow, one he shouldn't have to carry. We are a military family. We could have lived anywhere, but we chose Kerrville because we believe that this community that values services and families would be a good place. Cutting benefits for first responders sends the opposite message. It tells my son and every firefighter that their sacrifices are invisible and that their lives are worth less than the budget line that they fall under. These men and women are not just employees. They are our sons, our daughters, our neighbors, our protectors. They stand between this community and tragedy every single day. Kerrville must show them that they matter. I'm asking you, as a mother, as a veteran, and a member of this community, please do not turn your back on the people who would never turn their back on you. Provide hazardous duty pay. Restore their benefits. Show them that Kerrville sees them, values them, and stands with them, just as they stand for us. At the end of the day, this decision is in your hands. You have the power to either take something away from our first responders or stand up for them. I hope you choose to stand with them.
Christina Rotman. Kerrville is my hometown, and I haven't actually lived here for a while, but a lot of my friends and family do. And I do have family with the fire department. And I'm here to speak up on their behalf. Like many Kerrville residents, I was shocked to hear of the proposed disaster tax hike. A tax on folks who are traumatized is unacceptable. However, I read the mayor's post explaining how the city has to meet 25% of FEMA's contributions, and I didn't know that. So I decided to do some research. How can any city or small town recover from any natural disaster? And what lessons can we learn from those that have? I learned that Bastrop after the wildfires and Rockport after Hurricane Harvey felt that a post-disaster tax hike would have been disrespectful to their citizens who had lost so much. They decided instead to more aggressively pressure the state for disaster relief funds. Have we made those phone calls, and have we put the same pressure on the government or on the governor before we dared to put it on our people? Because that's step one. Step two, it's a viable option, a viable plan to put the sales tax option to a vote. If you do a 0.5% sales tax, it spreads the burden to everyone who spends money here and not just the property owners. Lots of people want to help you. We've seen that from the donations to the community fund. That's why James Avery was overwhelmed with orders when they sold their Heart of the Hill Country charm with proceeds going into the community fund. If this kind of tax was in place when they did that, it would have cost each of the 100,000 customers who bought that charm, it would have cost each of them only 30 cents to add it to their order, and added up to another $30,000 for the city budget. I do appreciate that you are being transparent about the challenges Kerrville is still facing and giving the public the opportunity to be heard. Your argument for the tax increase appealed to our better nature, I have never been more proud to be from Kerrville than I have in the past few weeks, because we saw that everyone looked out for one another and helped out neighbors just because it's the right thing to do. You educated us on how city funding works. The thousands of people who donated over $100 million to the community fund do not know that it can't be used for your emergency services and that it can't be used for your fire department. Your appeal to the property tax makes sense for this reason. But I don't think that the public knows that you've already put them at risk for losing the personnel that work emergency services by reducing your contributions to their health care coverage. It is my understanding that maybe this plan was already in the works before the flood to address the rising healthcare costs and not a reaction to the flood. But if it wasn't yet announced to them, the timing was bad. And it was not a huge rolling boulder that you were powerless to stop. You had to have known that it would feel like a knife in the back to those crews who worked that $400,000 worth of overtime. Take a moment to humanize that number. They accrued that much overtime because those crews who showed up in the middle of the night to start rescuing their neighbors didn't just stop when their shifts were over, because there were still people in the water. This would be the time to show our gratitude by increasing their access to health care, because who knows what kinds of toxins, chemicals, and bacteria they may have been exposed to in the water. And their mental health care needs to be taken extremely seriously. The regular statistic is that 45% of all firefighters experience suicidal ideation. The average for the general population is 5%. More firefighters die each year from suicide than in the line of duty. And these numbers might actually be underreported. The citizens of Kerrville showed the world what it looks like to love your neighbor. And the city of Kerrville has a responsibility to do the same.
Thank you.
Karen Guerrera and Debbie Zabika, they spoke earlier.
Right.
So, Zane Zenner.
Good evening, council, the mayor, city manager. I am Zane Zenner, 28-year veteran, and I'm here to represent the Kerrville Firefighters Association. As we look at this this crowd here, we have many spouses, many firefighters and their spouses are here. They're concerned. They're concerned because they may have to go look for a job elsewhere. They don't want to. They don't want to move from the beautiful city of Kerrville. They love the guys they work with and the girls they work with. But unfortunately, for the past 3 or 4 years, we haven't seen a real big increase in pay. And one thing that the city has always had, and as far as benefits go, is a good benefit package. If you take this benefit package away from us, police and fire and paramedics, we will lose a lot of them. Retention, hiring, training is not cheap on any organization. If this remains the same, if no actions are taken, the city of Kerrville will lose a lot of individuals. And I just hope that's not the case. That's all I have. Thank you.
Franchina. Levi Malden.
Good evening, Mayor Herring and members of the council. Before me, I have an entire speech that would take approximately the 4 minutes to deliver. But as I've listened to everybody speak, it's become clear that there's not a whole lot I could add out of this to what has already been said. So I will just add a few thoughts. As I've been listening, I hope that it's clear that what you're hearing is a small fraction of the representation that will be affected by this change. We were able to congregate and get 20 of us together. But as Mike has said, there's 350 employees. We are not naive to the fact that on the fire and the police side, we are very fortunate when it comes to our pay rate compared to a lot of other sectors or employees of this city. I can understand the financial burden that this change will place on my family. I could not even imagine making 25% less than I do and being expected to afford this change. I don't understand how anybody possibly could. The numbers they just don't work. Being expected to pay over $300 a pay period for a quality health insurance program, that's not feasible. And I would challenge anybody to make that argument. We appreciate y'all's time and your attention to this matter. And we also understand, and we're not naive to the fact, that budgeting a balance, managing a budget must be challenging. And you have a responsibility to be a good steward of the taxpayer dollar. Nobody's asking you to not honor that. But at what cost? That's what has to be considered. And I would only hope that sincere consideration is being given to what y'all are hearing today. Thank you.
George Baruti.
George Broody, 1616 Glen Road. I had a whole thing about the budget, but I don't want to stand in and kind of take away from what's going on. So I'll just kind of kind of whatever you call it, dovetail into that a little bit. First, I can't imagine the courage it takes not to just be a fireman, but to actually come in here and speak up essentially to your bosses about something that must be, obviously it's very important. What I'm hearing is from you all is, there's a budget tightening the belt. I'm saying the same thing. I get all that. But I think what they're asking for is maybe some consideration to the priorities you're placing on our budget. We've talked about it with Mr. McKinney in particular, about the housing developments where we're giving back millions of dollars of taxes, essentially underfunding those developments, bringing on, I would argue, negative net impact to the city government. Instead of doing that, maybe hold off on that while you shore up what you already have, the resources you already have. Another thought to consider is you just talked the public into, you didn't, but we've talked the public into funding a Taj Mahal of public safety complex. And what I'm hearing now is we may have trouble staffing that building under the benefits and wages that we have. There has to be room to juggle things around in our budget to reprioritize the things that matter the most at the top and then working down from there. There's going to be some things we can't do, but hopefully they're the things that you just want rather than you need. I would agree, we need firefighters and we need policemen, and women, sorry. So if you could just, I'm going to sit down and be quiet and just let what they've been saying sink in and just consider what you can do about it. Thank you.
That's the end of the citizen speakers.
I want to say thank you to everybody for being well-spoken. I appreciate it. And do not be mistaken, we heard every word. And I've read a lot of words online as well. I appreciate you taking the time to come talk to us. I do. Class of 2003, I had a kid in that class. All right, we're going to move on then to the next item, which is our consent agenda. Before you leave, you don't have to stay for the whole thing, but before you leave, thank you for coming. I'm glad you were here. The next item is our consent agenda. These items are considered routine and can be approved in one motion unless a council member, staff, or member of the public asks for separate consideration of an item. Does council wish to remove any item from the consent agenda?
I would like to just make a comment about 3D, so 3D would be the one I would.
All right, we'll pull up 3D. Anything else? There are ordinances in this consent agenda, so they'll need to be read into the record.
Yes, sir. 3A, ordinance number 2025-15, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 225 Shriner Street from a residential transition zoning district RT to a downtown arts and cultural zoning district DAC, and providing other matters relating to the subject. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12, 2025. 3B, ordinance number 2025-16, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 1421 East Main, consisting of approximately 1.77 acres out of the J.A. Tybee addition and within the City of Kerrville, Kerr County, Texas, from a neighborhood commercial zoning district C1 to a light commercial zoning district C2, and providing other matters relating to the subject. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12, 2025. 3C, ordinance number 2025-17, second reading. An ordinance amending Chapter 60 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kerrville, Texas zoning code by changing the zoning of a property known as 2210 Highway 173, Bandera Highway, Lot 2, Block 1, out of the Oak Hollow Estates Edition, and within the City of Kerrville, Kerr County, Texas, from a neighborhood commercial zoning district C1 to a light commercial zoning district C2, and providing other matters relating to the subject. And this ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading August 12th, 2025. Yes, sir.
Is there a motion then on all the consent agenda except for 3D?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda items number 3A, B, C, E, F, G, and H.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Passes unanimously. Item 3D, 3 is in David.
The only thing I asked when I was going over this was where was this in our new budget, and it was in our current budget, last year's basically budget. In case you were looking for this 1,276,755, which I was, and so it's not going to be in the newer book. It's going to be in last year's.
I think we allocated that some. We moved some money from.
Okay,
I'm
well,
trying to remember.
that's-
We
that-
had a discussion on it, but it was
before
before
my
the flood,
time?
I think. No, I think it was during your time, but.
Okay, well, I think it originated maybe earlier though.
Oh, it probably did.
Yeah.
It probably
Anyway,
did.
minor detail. Let's move on.
All right, so you don't have a question.
No, I actually, talked with Dalton about it in our meeting, so.
Is there a motion then on item 3D as in David?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to finalize and execute the construction contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 4A is resolution number 23, 2025, concerning conditional use permit. Mr. Paxton.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a resolution for a conditional use permit authorizing a cabinet making shop located at 1421 East Main. This is after the passage of 3B in a C2 zoning district. This is the property shown C1 here. Again, it's now C2. In the Kerrville 2050 plan, it is part of the neighborhood residential area, which does allow for small amounts of commercial and carefully chosen locations. Again, this was previous commercial property, just moved up to C2. Here's the property that we talked about at the zoning change public hearing. The cabinet shop is on the left side of the building. There's an office on the right-hand side. There is one residential home to the right of this property. The resolution you have before you has two conditions that be tied to the site plan and that it be subject to all other zoning requirements. However, during the zone change, I heard a couple comments from council and wanted to address those as potential conditions that council could apply to the resolution. No outdoor material storage. Confirm that the existing screening fence does meet current code and that the cabinet shop to be operated behind closed doors to minimize noise. If at council's pleasure, if you want those conditions included, work with legal department to update the resolution before execution. Be pleased to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
I would like those to be incorporated into it because if and when there's another owner, a new owner, that doesn't have these, regulations or, stipulations, they could do all of these things. Like they could store outdoor something else so I just want to have protection for the next, person that doesn't disturb the residential neighborhood that it's kind of in. But I think you're going to be busy.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we already are, so.
I'm sure you are. Yeah. Well, all the best to you.
Is there then consensus to add these three possible conditions?
No objection from you on these. These are fine for you.
That's fine for me, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good.
I think
Thank
we should do it. That's great.
All right, then I'll need a motion.
Sir, this is a public hearing.
You're right, I'm sorry. First, we must open a public hearing. Thank you. Go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:02. Anyone can speak without having signed up previously. Seeing one, I'm going to close the public hearing also at 7:02. All right, thank you. Is there a motion then on Resolution 23-2025 with these three additional conditions?
I'll make a motion that we approve the CUP resolution number 23-2025.
Second.
With the condition?
With these conditions that our attorney will draft up.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Unanimously. Best of luck to you.
Thank you all.
All the best.
Item 5A. Resolution number 27-2025. Present on this. Julie, are you up?
Sorry, which one is it?
It's per CAD budget.
Says Julie.
Oh, no, Sharon's here. She's gonna answer questions for you guys. So
Okay.
Our chief appraiser's here. Yeah, I have 3 tonight, so just checking which order I'm in.
That's enough, isn't it?
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Thank you. Thank you for your hard work during the tragedy.
It's been trying time.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, please.
Our budget this year proposed for next year, for 2026, has an increase of 6.11%. If you look at the spreadsheet that I'm sure Julie provided you, the increases were not in the salary line items. It had to do with legal consultation and insurance and other things that have gone up in our regular, doing
Insurance?
business.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Everybody's suffering from that, trust me.
All
Do you have
right.
any questions? Or?
Any questions? All right. Would someone like to make a
Well,
motion?
I've got a, how much did your insurance go up? I'm sorry.
3.10%.
3.10.
3.10. We have Texas Association of Counties, and they have really been good.
Good.
Yeah, like last year, we didn't have any increase, so,
I'm glad you spoke now instead of earlier.
yeah.
All right, do we have a motion then on, 27, 2025?
I'll make a motion to approve, resolution number 27-2025.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Thanks again for your hard
Thank
work.
you.
Item 5B, it says, Julie, but I would imagine it's not.